G'day, everyone. Welcome back to another Toon podcast, the Southern Hemisphere's biggest and best podcast, all things Newcastle United. I'm joined tonight by Craig to review a pretty disappointing game morning, which turns into afternoon and evening for us. Craig, how are you, mate?
I was alright, and I woke up to about 6:15 this morning and watched that shower of shite. So my day's been ruined. The week's pretty much been ruined. So I am canny yourself.
Yeah, pretty similar, mate. I just didn't set the alarm. I was already out. So it was a 7 o'clock kickoff here in Victoria. So I was up anyway, managed to get a sneaky little run in before the game. And you're a bit earlier. You're at 6 o'clock up there in Banana Benderville. So you probably might have had to set your alarm. But for the locals, mate, Monday night, the big Monday night game, Sky Sports, under the lights, the cauldron. It was anything but that, wasn't it?
It was absolutely so lackluster. It was unreal. I actually put a tweet out just before kickoff. It said St James's Park is a different beast under the lights. And literally with 2 minutes to go, I retweeted it with that gif of Homer backing into the hedge.
Yes.
And I was just like, oh, what an absolute shit show this has been. But nah, it definitely wasn't the atmosphere or performance that we were anticipating, that's for sure.
What did you make of it all? Now, I guess we're fortunate and unfortunate in a way that we have to live with it and and have the whole day to stew on it, which can be a bad thing because results like this, it's never good. But it can also be a good thing where you can kind of come out with a bit of a more logical sort of take and all that. Where did you kind of land on it, and what did you make of it all?
Well, come the final whistle, straight away after the final whistle, I was angry. I was disappointed. I was furious. But then as the day went on, I was just like, you know what? It's just a game of football. But obviously, it's more than that to us. It just is. And then the anger and the rage and everything started coming back as I thought about it again. And then I watched the very quick highlights on YouTube. And that just brought everything back again. But looking back on it now, it obviously was a fair result. West Ham were the better team on the pitch over the 90 minutes. So no problems losing the game in that regard. It's just the fact that we didn't even show up.
So I guess I've been lucky today that I've been that busy with work that I haven't really been on social media all day. So I haven't seen all the hot takes, but I'm pretty sure I can imagine what they'd be like, Craig. With Crisis, Longstaff's no good. Gordon's no good. He had his head turned in the summer. We need a winger. We can't get through a low block. Have I got the social media bingo for that?
You pretty much have. You hit the nail right on the head there. And obviously,
there was probably a couple of how outs.
In there just as well. Under the eye.
Yeah.
And they were literally coming out as that final whistle went. So they were preempted the minute that second goal went in, I reckon. And all of those people that are using the hashtag how out, I guarantee they wouldn't have tweeted anything positive about the Arsenal victory or the Forest victory or the Chelsea victory or anything like that. It's all negative doom and gloom. And as soon as something like that happens with Newcastle, it's how out, Gordon shit, Bruno shit, Isak shit, whatever it may be. There's never any positivity from those whatsoever. It's all doom and gloom. And it's what makes social media an absolute shithole until we get the next win, isn't it? And it's why a lot of people stay off that type of platforms now.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I guess with the lineup, there's one change. Lloyd Kelly come in for the suspended Dan Burn. Looking at the bench, looked really promising as well. Callum Wilson was back. Kieran Trippier was back as well. I think Wilson was always going to play. I know Eddie kind of keeps his cards close to his chest, especially with selection and stuff like that. But barring another mishap, which he didn't say at his Friday press conference, I think it was always going to play this game, provided he didn't get injured between Friday and Monday night. But so this is the interesting thing, Craig, and this is the part that I'm struggling to understand what other people can't understand. Okay, now this Eddie Howe says this nearly every week, and he speaks about how competitive the league is, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think he's saying it as a throwaway line. I think it is the most competitive league in the world, where on any given day, I think any
Yeah.
team can beat another team, right?
I'd agree with you. Aye.
So we've had a great win against Chelsea in the League Cup, backed it up against Arsenal, and then probably had our performance of the season against Nottingham Forest. I think that's the general consensus. I think most people would probably agree with that. It's okay to lose a game. It's okay to lose a game most expected to win. And it's also okay to lose a game and just go, do you know what? The other team was better than us.
Yeah.
That is... It is perfectly okay. You don't need scapegoats. You don't need blame. You can just go, do you know what? West Ham set up really, really well. We found it really, really hard to get through. And I don't think it matters if we had a right winger, if we had a number 10 or whatever on the day or on the night. They were the better team. They were organised. They were well drilled. Their plan was executed to perfection. And I'd argue the only chance we had in that second half, when I thought we were okay in the first half. Like, I thought we actually played pretty well and probably had a couple of block shots and stuff like that. I still don't remember Fabianski making a save of note, but that second half, we didn't look like scoring. Like, what's the time? We're probably 11 hours from the full-time whistle. And I reckon if we have kept playing until we started recording, I still don't think we would have scored.
No, I don't even think we've got a shot on target.
No, we did it. And the only time I thought we could have scored and probably should have scored was the Wilson no penalty call. I thought that was as blatant as you'd ever get. Like,
yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Anywhere else, that wasn't even an interpretation. That was just a blatant foul. And anywhere else on the pitch, it's not even it's the whistle's instantaneous that's a foul. Now, for the life of me, I can't understand why VAR thinks don't have another look. Hey, you should probably have a look at this. This was really, really bad. I've got no idea. But apart from that incident, we never looked like it.
No. I completely get in that second half. There was that opportunity from Isak where he was on the volley, but he put it wide. But I think he was offside anyway.
I think he was offside anyway, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't think that would have counted if that had hit the back of the net. But yeah, apart from that, there was that one opportunity in the first half from Gordon when their defender fumbled it in the box, but Fabianski was out quick to smother it.
Yeah.
And apart from that, Fabianski, he could have had the second half off, to be honest. He really could have.
Yeah.
He could have went home, got the early train back down to London.
So it's part us, but I think it's more to do with West Ham and the way they played and the way they set up and everything like that. And it's perfectly okay to go, do you know what? We were just beaten by the better team.
Yeah.
That's okay. We don't need hot takes and all that. Right, cool. We've got Palace on Saturday. Let's go out and make amends. And I think we might just get to that maybe at the back end of this. But we might... The goal, like the first goal, was just a poor goal to concede. Lloyd Kelly kind of switched off at that from the corner, and then Souček basically unmarked and managed to just guide it straight through a bunch of players into that far corner. It was, and you can't say like it was a surprise. I thought we started off really well, and the goal did come against the run of play, and I still think we probably controlled the game. I think they did have that spell, maybe 5 or 10 minutes after they scored, where they kind of got their tails up, and we were like, "Oh, hang on a sec, what's happening here?" But I think for the majority of the first half, we huffed and puffed, and we looked pretty comfortable, but just didn't really look like scoring.
No, we didn't. Obviously, we had that early goal disallowed, rightfully for offside as well for Isak.
Yeah.
In the opening
How cheeky was the chip too?
It was class. It was a quality finish. But I think Fabianski, obviously, he's no way of knowing he's 100% offside, but he's probably got a good idea. Hence
but
why
you still have to contest it, though.
You do.
Yeah.
But I'm not taking anything away from Big Dog's finish because it was quality. But at first, I thought it was closer than what it was, but it was pretty obvious once they went to a certain camera angle didn't need to get out the blue and red lines or anything like that, unfortunately. But yeah, that was, if that had went in and that had counted, then who knows, might have been a different result. West Ham would have been on the back foot, but just wasn't to be.
Yeah, absolutely. So fast forward to the second half. Now I know Willock picked up. I thought it looked really bad when it happened, and then I probably didn't realize what had happened until they showed the replay from a different camera angle, and it was actually Longstaff that cannoned into him, not the West Ham player. So that didn't look great. I was surprised he continued for the rest of the half. Like, we're 1-0 down. There's no reason for him to take as long as he did on the ground after the injury. So that's when I kind of thought, doesn't look great. Injury history, not great either. All these things start adding up. I'm thinking he's going to have to come off here. And then I'm kind of trying to compute in my head who we're going to bring on, what's the formation going to look like after that. But he didn't continue for long. Replaced at halftime by Harvey Barnes, which I thought was maybe a little bit of a surprise. I thought Tonali might have come on at halftime for him.
It was the call I wanted to make, even before halftime, to be honest. Purely because obviously Willock was struggling because of that injury. You know, we need an outlet on that left-hand side and somebody who can't impact from the bench. And the one player that has done that in recent memory is Harvey Barnes. So I was just going to turn to him. Obviously, he came on at halftime for Indeed Willock. Didn't really do much. None of the subs really had much of an impact. But I would get where you're coming from by putting Tonali on and maybe pushing Big Joe out to the left or keep him out of the right and switching Gordon as they did throughout the game, go between the left and right side.
I just thought we lacked a little bit of urgency, I thought, in attack. And our cautiousness, I guess, probably allowed West Ham enough time to set up the way they wanted to set up behind the ball, especially protecting that 1-0 lead as well. And I just thought if we can get someone who's a bit more sharper on the ball and maybe get the ball moving forward quicker, we might catch him out. But wasn't to be. The second goal was another poor goal to concede, wasn't it? Like, it was a kind of a nothing, and Longstaff got kind of drawn to Bowen as well when he didn't need to, and it was a simple pass, and it was a simple finish, really. It was like he was unmarked, and it was just poor defending all around.
Do you think Pope could have done better for the second goal? Do you reckon he was slow to get down? Because there wasn't any pace on the ball. It was the accuracy.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It was like it was kind of like slow motion, wasn't it? The whole thing.
Yeah.
Look, we're two blokes a shade under 5'8", mate. So we're probably not the ones to be talking about how long it takes someone who's about 6'6" to get his hand down on the ground. So
you're eating that one.
Yeah, I might let that one go through for a goal kick. Excuse the pun, but who not? Like, I'm not going to criticize Nick Pope. Like, I'm sure maybe he wasn't even ready for it. Like,
maybe
I wasn't ready for it. I was, like I said, it was like it was on. The speed was like 0.5, and the ball from Bowen, and then the shot from Wan-Bissaka, it was just kind of like slow. And he kind of went in. He like, oh shit!
Did that happen?
What the hell was that?
It was crazy, but it was obviously a well-positioned goal. You know, it's like a penalty. If you aim for the corner and you hit the corner, you're going to score the majority of the time. You know, regardless of how much power you put behind it. So you obviously put it in a good position. I just thought Pope's reaction time was just maybe a little bit slow on that one. For somebody who has normally cat-like reflexes for that type of thing, I thought he could have done a little bit better on that one, but he was by far not the worst player on the pitch. There was definitely some of the worst casualties out there.
Yeah, absolutely. So as the second half wore on, now I'm not sure if you got this vibe as well when you were watching it, mate. We brought some good players off the bench. Harvey Barnes, Callum Wilson come on for his debut this season. Kieran Trippier come on. Sandro Tonali obviously came on as well. It felt like the the more subs we brought on, the worse we got. Like, like I'm watching it, I'm
it
like,
seemed so disjointed, didn't it?
yeah, it
As
was
if they'd
just really
never played
clunky,
together.
wasn't it?
Yeah, it was almost like a pre-season training session type thing. Okay, lads, you've had 6 to 8 weeks apart from each other, get to know each other again, start passing the ball about, that type of thing. Was a very disjointed performance from everybody that came on the pitch. I mean, Hall and Bonds down that left-hand side, they've normally got a good partnership going, but even that just seemed to be totally off the point today as well. We know Murphy and Trips, they've got a good partnership together. But again, it's the lack of game time they've both had. Obviously, Trips is coming back from a decent layoff. So how fit and sharp is he? Murphy hasn't really kicked much of a ball. So again, how sharp is he? Tonali played 2 full 90 minutes for Italy, but can't get a start for us. Maybe he wasn't feeling 100% sharp. Who knows? But I don't know. It was definitely a strange way because lately Eddie's substitutions have actually impacted the game, whereas this
Yeah.
time they've had the complete opposite.
No, yeah, I was going to say they impacted it, just not in a good way.
It's terrible.
Which is strange because they're all, like you said, they're all, apart from Jacob Murphy, like they're all really, really good players. Like Harvey Barnes is a really good player. Jacob Murphy is a good player, but he's not.
Yeah.
He's not at the level of the other guys that come on.
No, he's not. Yeah. That's no dig at Jacob, but
yeah, no, that's a fact, and it's just, yeah, it was just like Wilson playing up front. I don't mind Isak on the left either. I think he offers something there, and Tonali's. He's a strange one. It just, I'm struggling to understand why he doesn't start regularly. Now, part of me understands today, like you said, he's played two internationals with Italy, played the full game, the travel, another game on Saturday. I can kind of understand why maybe you just pick Bruno and have him come off the bench, given that Joel Linton, Longstaff, Willock all stayed. I was going to say stayed in the UK. They all went to Saudi, which I don't know. Was that a good idea as well?
Who knows?
Easy to say now, but yeah, it's they've got to figure this out, Craig. They've got to figure out how Sandro Tonali starts in this team, and we don't turn to dog shit when it happens.
Well, I don't think it's necessarily a case of Tonali starting on the team because you can bring him in, but who do you bring him in for? The obvious one is Longstaff, but history and statistics show we perform better when Longstaff is in that squad.
Yeah,
we just
definitely.
Do. That's a fact. Nobody can deny that. But then who do you take out? Because you're not going to take out Bruno because he's the captain. And you're not going to take out Big Joe because you lose the pace and the physicality that only Big Joe
and the
can
versatility too. Like he can play in the on the left and he can kind of bob up on the right too. So if you look at that, like it has to be Longstaff, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can't. You're not going to take anyone else out. And I think Joe Willock as well gives us a different look in there. He's got different attributes that the other people don't have. His speed, his ability to run with the ball, drive forward, all that sort of stuff. So for me, if he's fit, he starts. It has to be Longstaff. Now, the coaching staff have to figure out why can't Tonali do what Longstaff does and make the team click like Longstaff does. That's their biggest challenge. That how can they get him to play in the midfield, but keep the team ticking along? Because we've seen when he starts, it looks clunky as like it is just it's really, really tough to watch, and it doesn't look like there's any flow or energy or anything like that. Now, that's their job. They've got to figure out how to get Sandro Tonali, because this is the same conversation Jacob Murphy. He is a lot better than Sean Longstaff.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
So,
there's no denying that. That's, again, a given eye.
Yeah. So how do we harness his talent and ability and have him function with the other 9 players on the pitch to make us an effective team? That they've got to figure that out, Craig, because it's killing us at the moment.
For me, I think he's playing too high up the pitch. If it was me, for that middle three, I would have Bruno and Big Joe as your 2 forward central midfielders, effectively, and Tonali sitting back. Bruno, he got caught out an absolute shitload in possession today, and it was because Bruno lost possession, we actually conceded that second goal.
Yes, correct.
Whether he's knackered from coming back from South America or playing the internationals, who knows? But there's other players that do exactly the same thing, and they seem to be okay. So I'm not going to use that one as a potential excuse. But
Did
if Bruno
play? Oh, sorry, Paquetá. Did Paquetá play in the Brazil? I can't remember.
Oh no, actually, nah, I didn't check. But again, maybe Bruno is, as we know, Bruno's a very emotional player, and he was booed off by Brazilian fans in the last game. So maybe that's knocked his confidence a little bit. Who knows? Again, he is a very emotional player, as we know. But yeah, I think Bruno and Big Joe further up the pitch with Tonali sitting back is almost that fifth man in defence, effectively protecting the back four with as them to advance. And then if we get super advanced up the pitch, he can then join them in that regard, you know.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's playing too high up the pitch. And let Bruno and Big Joe pick out those passes. We know Bruno can do that. He's done it a million times before for us. But yeah, him and Tonali, they just don't seem to click, which is quite weird as well, considering Tonali had pretty much 12 months off to try and click with Bruno and Big Joe and everybody else who can play in that midfield role as well. He's had a full year's worth of training, but it just hasn't clicked for whatever reason. What's the problem? We don't really know, but the solution is probably the even harder one.
Yeah. Well, I think with regards to the training, like you got to remember, Joel Litton missed a fair chunk of last season, so he wouldn't have been training.
Actually, did I? Yeah.
Willick missed a fair chunk, so he wouldn't have been training.
That's a fair
Lewis
point.
Miley, was he training, or were they kind of trying to manage him from sort of week to week to try and get him through, knowing they didn't have cover? How much training was Longstaff doing with that ankle injury that he carried for most of the year as well? Like, it's, yeah, on the surface, yeah, absolutely. Like, what were they doing? But like, I remember we spoke about this last year, that it wasn't just the performances week to week. It was the fact that they couldn't really train properly, A, because of the short turnaround, but B, given the amount of injuries we had, it's really hard to train against people who, like, they might have had the under-21s having to train with the first team purely to make up numbers to mimic an opposition and stuff like that. So
yeah,
there's all these factors that come into play with stuff like that. Now he's back. Yeah, that they've got to figure it. They've got to figure it out, Craig, how to best get his talent onto the pitch that's going to make us a more effective team than what we are now. And this is what coaching is in a nutshell, is how do you get the best out of someone, an individual that benefits the team and makes the team better. Now, he's done it with Miggy. He's done it with Gordon. He's done it with Joel Linton. His record's there that he's capable of doing it. He's just got to figure out how to do it with Tonali.
Yeah. No, I agree. 100% agree. And once that clicks, and that midfield is the metronome of the team. What makes us click. It gets us our rhythm. Does everything from going forward, tracking back. Once we've got that and we've found the rhythm for that one, then we will get back to scoring goals. We will get back to winning games. But as of right now, it looks as though it's going to be Longstaff, Big Joe, and Bruno in the middle, providing Bruno is fit for the Palace game, because obviously he limped off, didn't he?
Yeah, and he went straight down the tunnel too, which was interesting. So I guess we might move forward a little bit to the Palace game. Now, we won't go too deep into it, given our preview be later on in the week and stuff like that. But where do we go from here? Now, I'll ask a two-part question for you, Craig. Assuming Bruno and Willick are fit, which I doubt will happen, but assuming they are, what do you think Eddie Howe will do?
I reckon he'll go back to basics. I reckon he'll go.
Will it be burned for Kelly? Would be the only change this weekend.
We missed Burn big time in that game.
Yeah.
And it's mental because people say Burn shit and he's no good or anything like that, but you don't realize how much you miss somebody until he's not there. And that was absolutely the case with Burn.
And that was Longstaff too. That was Longstaff at the start of the year.
Correct. Absolutely, yes.
Nick Pope last year.
Bruno, if he's fit, Big Joe and Longstaff to start in the midfield three. And I would Gordon on the left and Murphy on the right, just to see how that starts. Because
So
then
that's
you've got
what
a
you
proper
do.
balance of the left and the right side then. And Gordon is a shadow of his previous self from last season. We need to get him firing all cylinders again. And we need to do that by putting him back in his natural position, which is out on the left. I understand he's the type of player that will help the team out and play in whatever position you want him to, but you want your best player in the best position. And hopefully we'll look at that on Saturday and that's addressed.
Yeah, for sure. Just on a positive note, I thought Lewis Hall was cracking again.
He's
I thought he was
massive.
our best player by a fair margin, probably. His ability to, just read the play, defend, and then be really involved when we have the ball on attack and give us that outlet, which we kind of spoke about 2 years ago when we had the kind of Trippier, Miggy, Bruno thing on the right hand side, that we're kind of crying out that if we had something similar on the left, that teams couldn't overload on one side because Dan Burn wasn't a threat as a left back. But now with Lewis Hall, like, man, he's so good. And the way that Eddie has spent the last 12 months, I guess, training him and improving him, and he never gifted him a game last year when most people were crying out, "Hey, just mate, we're running on fumes here. Just give him some time to at least give the other guys a spell." But he never did. He made him earn everything. And look, he's an England player now. I dare say he's going to be an England player for the next 10 plus years.
Easy, gotta be. Yeah, he and Tino will be England's fullbacks for the foreseeable future, as far as I'm concerned. Kel Walker's days are numbered. He's coming to the tail end of his career right now. So I'd imagine Tino will step into his role. And I can't remember who's been playing left back for England. Was it Luke Shaw? But he's been injured for a bit.
Available. So Trippier played in the.
He did actually,
Euros over the summer. So
Hall to make that position his own as well. And then, we've got two of the best young defenders and best English defenders in the country, if you ask me.
Yeah, and I hand up, I was skeptical of the transfer probably 4-6 months after we did it, and he wasn't playing. He wasn't getting on. We were screaming out for someone to play. And then I slapped myself and thought, we actually haven't paid for him yet, so it's not it's not a waste of money because we haven't paid for him. Yes, we could have bought someone in for the then and the now, but we had no idea that the injuries that we were going to suffer. Like, it's easy to say in December when we've got 10 blokes on the injury list, we've got 4 goalkeepers on the bench every game. Easy to say then, but yeah, that's a bargain now, and the club have said they've got to really box clever in the transfer market now. That fee for Lewis Hall now is a bargain.
Yeah, I think we are only one centre back away from having a solid defensive line once Botman's back and fighting fit. From having a good solid line for a good number of years. Hopefully that happens in maybe January, possibly the summer. Depends on the club's priorities. But yeah, that back line could be solid for the foreseeable, which is cracking because, to be honest, we're not really known for a good solid defensive line historically. So
no, that's
good
it.
to go from the back.
I think a lot of that will probably depend on where Jamal Lascelles is at with his recovery and when he's expected back and stuff like that. So if he's expected maybe around the Feb-March, they might keep their powder dry on the centre back until the summer and really try and zero in on that right winger to give us a different look and maybe a bit more quality out that side with Murphy and Miggy kind of frozen out now. It doesn't look like he's got much of a future at the club. But yeah, this will all play out in a little over a month, mate, where we can open that window again and hopefully something happens, because I don't think we can go 3 windows without bringing in any new first-team player at all. But Mate, thank you very much. It's always a pleasure. They're never fun, these podcasts, especially after
No,
a loss. Especially after a loss, most expected to win. But like you said, full credit to West Ham. They were the better side on the night,
they
fully
were
deserved the win. You don't have to point fingers. You don't have to blame anyone. You can simply sometimes say, we were beaten tonight by the better team. Okay?
100%.
It's perfectly okay to say that. No one will think any less of you. You can just be honest and say,
Hmm.
we were beaten by a better team, Craig.
Correct. Couldn't agree more.
Yeah. All right, everyone. That'll do for now. Short and sharp. Don't want to drag this on. Stay tuned later in the week. We'll have a big Crystal Palace preview.
Another guest.
Hopefully, not too much Mark Gahey talk, unless we're talking about him joining us for 25 million less than what he was going to do 6 months ago, which would be happy to talk about that now. Yeah, stay tuned for that. And yeah, hopefully we can get back on the winners list this weekend, Craig.
Fingers crossed, mate. We need to climb that table. Europe is the place we want to be. And to be honest, we need to be beating teams like West Ham if we want to get to Europe. But hopefully we'll put it right by getting 3 points against Palace. We owe them one after our shit show there last season.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks, everyone, for watching and listening. Craig, thank you for your time, mate. We'll see you all next time.
Cheers, mate.